Hello everyone, welcome back to Skill Booster by Fariha Salahuddin, where I share lessons, insights and reflections to help you grow in your personal and professional life. Today we are talking about something that can quietly make or break your leadership journey: executive presence. I spent over 25 years as a senior executive in HR, and I was deeply involved in identifying successors for VP and SVP roles. Performance mattered, so did stakeholder relationship. But one thing that nobody really spoke about outside the meeting room or the boardroom was about executive presence. Because it's actually quite hard, because it's non-tangible. Performance you can track. Relationships, again, you know where it's working and where it's not working. But how do you explain executive presence? So in this episode, we are going to unpack how we can enhance our executive presence for our professional and personal development. Before we jump into this topic, let me tell you that this is something which is really close to my heart, because as I grew in my career, sometimes I noticed that I would get the seat at the table, but people wouldn't listen to me. And again, I didn't know what was not working. The content was there. And I remember the first time I met someone, a coach, and she highlighted that I needed to work on my executive presence. And I was very confused. And I asked her, what does it mean? Does it mean improve my presentation skills? Or is it something else? So let me make this easy for you. I found this great article. It was published last year in HBR. The article was written by Sylvia Ann Hewlett. And she talks about executive presence, and how she defines it is into three areas. Number one, gravitas. So what is gravitas? Gravitas is when people unconsciously, they want to follow you because they are inspired by you, by your words and by your actions. It doesn't mean that you have the loudest voice in the room or that you take over the discussion. It is quiet confidence. People are observing how you make decisions, so how courageous you are. Number two, it's about your integrity and how you carry yourself under pressure. So how do you manage your emotions? And that's how you inspire others and motivate others. And this is what is called gravitas. The second pillar of executive presence is communication. And it's both verbal and written. And these days is actually quite tricky because we are constantly connected on our WhatsApp, we are available virtually. But few things that I've noticed. Number one, especially I'll talk about our WhatsApp communication or digital presence. Be careful how you write and what you write. Sometimes people who are very emotional, they actually use that space to let their emotions out. I personally don't think, especially if it's a professional group. So be careful what you write. Number two, if you have a virtual call, make sure that there's proper lighting, people can see you. A lot of times I know that people, they join the call, but you can hardly hear them. And sometimes they keep their video off because they are not ready. Now what you're doing here, you're giving your power away. Because if you're not seen physically, if you're not heard properly, somebody else will take over that space. So do not give that space away so easily. Make sure that you make proper arrangements whenever there is a virtual call or a video call. Lastly, communication is also about listening. So you're not cutting people off. You're listening because one, you understand really what the issue is. Secondly, we all like to feel heard, or we like to feel important, and the best way you can make others feel important by listening to them. So communication is the second pillar. The last pillar is about appearance and body language. Now, appearance doesn't mean that you're wearing the latest suit or you're following the latest fashion. It's about how well tailored your clothes are, your oral hygiene. The colors you wear, they have a huge impact on your skin, on your personality. So make sure the colors, they complement your skin tone, they complement the environment where you are. It's something that nobody really talks about, but it is very important. Typically, we make impressions about people within 30 seconds. And we create those impressions just by looking at them, what they're wearing and how they're walking and how we see them. And lastly, make sure whatever clothes you wear, just understand what sort of an impression you want to give. For example, if you're wearing a torn jean, it may look great, but again, it's very, very casual. So again, understanding what the environment is, what kind of an impression you want to give through your clothes, the colors you wear is extremely important. And the last point about appearance is our body language. It's about our oral hygiene, our body odor, but it's a little deeper than that. It's also about our eye contact, because most of the communication, it happens through our eyes, our smile. How do we greet people? And then again, how do we sit? How much space do we take? Something that I struggle because I'm quite petite. So sometimes in a boardroom, I would sit and I would literally sit like this as if I've shrunk there. And then again, a coach advised me then, take more space because it exudes confidence and more importantly, it allows energy to flow. So we breathe better. So these are some small tips, but they play a huge role in creating our executive presence. Before we end this session, I'd like to give you a little homework. What I want you to think that how do you come across to others? Are you self-aware? When you walk into the room, how do you command your presence? What is your body language like? What kind of clothes do you wear? And what's your facial expression? Pay attention and if possible, ask for some feedback. This will be immensely helpful as you carve out your leadership growth journey. So whether you're leading a team or you're managing a business, understanding your executive presence and how you want to come across to others is extremely important. It's about being calm, clear, and an alert, happy body language, so others want to interact with you. And this alignment again has to feel natural. If you're going to force anything, then people will notice and it will not be so impactful. So if this is something that you've been struggling or not aware, I recommend you follow some of the tips as mentioned in this video and do drop in a comment how has it helped you in your career. Until next time, stay grounded, keep growing and get your voice heard so people know that you matter. Thank you for joining Skill Booster by Fariha Salahuddin. If you find this content useful, please like, subscribe and share with your friends who may benefit from these learnings.